Okay, rock, paper, scissors part 2. Next bit we're going to do is ask the user to type in their choice, either rock or paper or scissors, get that choice, and then I suppose initially display it so we can see that it's working. So let's do this bit. Now, to get something from the user, first of all we'll type out, we'll get printed on the screen a request for them to type something. So if we put system.out.println, actually let's just do, rather than print line, let's just do print so it all stays on the same line. And what we'll print is enter your choice. Like that. Okay, so that's what the user will see on the screen. Type in your choice, and then the cursor, because I used print not print line, the cursor will be just to the right of that, and they will type it in on the same line. It will perhaps look more natural from the user's point of view. Now, to get the input from the keyboard, we can use a scanner. We used one of these in one of the previous Java challenges. So I'm going to have a variable called my scanner. The data type is scanner, and that we're going to make a new scanner, and the place it's going to get its data from is here. Okay, now this probably looks a bit mysterious, but it's a line you can just use, and we have used in previous examples, to get input from the keyboard. This won't compile until we've imported that class. So I'll just demonstrate that, and then we'll import it. If we try and compile it, it's going to give us an error on that line. You see, look, it can't find the symbol. It can't find scanner. It doesn't know what scanner is. So what we have to do here is we have to import it. So we go import. I think it's util. I think it's in yeah, Java util utilities. Okay, so now we've imported scanner, it will compile. So let's just verify that. There we go, that compiled okay. Right, now we've got a scanner, we can use that to read input from the keyboard, and we can say that the user choice, if you remember, that was the variable that we declared up here, string variable. User choice, we can set that equal to my scanner dot next line. So what's going to happen there is that the computer's going to wait until the user types in another line of text, and it recognizes that when the user presses the enter key, and then it takes that text and it puts it in the user choice variable, or the user choice points to that bit of text. Now, the first thing I think that we can do when it comes to deciding who's won is that, well, perhaps actually let's test this. Let's just test that it works. Let's go system.out.println the user choice. So if we do that, we can type something in, and then we will get printed out on the screen what it is that we've just typed, and we can see whether things are working at that stage. That might be helpful. So let's compile that, and then let's run it. Okay, oh, so we're still printing out this random number, aren't we, to check that things worked. So we'll get rid of that in a minute. And then if I type in any old rubbish like that, do you see it's printed it back to the screen? Okay, now what we'll need to do in a minute is to check whether that is one out of rock, paper, scissors, and if it's none of the three, it'll have to print, well, I don't recognise what you typed, but for the moment it is just typing back on the screen, printing back to the screen whatever we type at the keyboard. So I typed in that, and system out print line is printing that. So I think at this point let's get rid of the bit that, well, not get rid of it, let's comment out the bit of code that is printing the random number to the screen there. Okay. We've also got it printing out what the computer chose. Well, we don't want that showing, because otherwise if the computer has chosen paper, well, I'm obviously going to choose scissors, because scissors beats paper. So before we have finished the program, we want to comment out the line that prints that. But for the moment, while we're testing, let's leave it there because it might be useful. Okay, so I think the first thing that we can do after printing what the user chose is to deal with the situation where there's a tie. Where they've both chosen the same thing. Okay. And how we can do that is to say that if, so we've got another if construction here, if, when I type my curly brackets, I always like to do them in pairs. I do the opening curly bracket and then the closing one together, and it means that I'm unlikely to forget that a closing bracket has got to come along someplace to match the opening one. So I want to say if the user choice equals the computer choice, this is how we can test whether two strings are in fact the same. Sometimes there's other ways of doing this, but that is a string, what the user chose. We can say, well, does it equal, and here's another string, what the computer chose. So if the two are equal, then we've got a tie. So let's go system out dot print line let's say it's a tie. It's a tie. Let's say what we both chose. We both chose and I think we've done this before. It's going to print out this message here, and then it's going to additionally print the computer choice. So it's going to be something like, it's a tie, we both chose rock, or it's a tie, we both chose scissors. So let's save that one. Now let's test if this works again now. So we'll compile it. Oh, good, no errors. Okay, and now we'll try running it. Now I can see the I can see the computer chose rock, so if I choose something else, just any old rubbish at the moment, well, it's echoed back what I typed because of that, but it didn't say it's a tie because it wasn't. Let's try it again, and this time I'm going to deliberately type in the same thing that the computer chose, rock. Should say that it's a tie. There we go, it's a tie. We both chose rock. Okay, so that bit is working, and I think again now I'm going to stop, and we'll pick up in the next video the next bit of code we need to do after this.